attendance this afternoon of the Economic Development and Jobs Committee. I'm joined by council members Geraldo and Nazarian and Park and Ramirez, I'm sorry, Martinez is with me today, and Geraldo. We're still awaiting Nazarian and Tracy. But Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll? Let's get it started.
Councilmember Price.
Okay.
Councilmember Price.
Price, here.
Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Hurtado.
Present.
Councilmember Nazarian, absent. Councilmember Park, absent. 3 members and a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I'm told that Councilwoman Park may come later. We're going to open the meeting to public comment. Everyone will have a minute for general comment. And we will ask you to go to the oh, you got to, okay. You go to the podium as your names are called. First up, Nella McCosker, followed by Rich Sarian, Kathleen Rawson, Rob Nordhoff, Carlos Cata, Luis Arita.
Good afternoon. Kicking it off. My name is Nella McCosker. I am here to speak in strong support of the expansion and modernization of the convention center. Those are words I have uttered before to this committee and to others. And I know that some of you are new to the committee, new to the council. I appreciate the thoughtfulness in which you have already approached this project. And for those of you who have led on it in the past, including, of course, the chair, for whose this project sits in his district, it is pretty remarkable the level of support, the broad tent, the coalition of people, and the good this project stands to do the city. And with full appreciation for what a challenging moment this is, and the way in which resources, attention, and focus must be diverted to the crises at hand, it is still of the utmost importance to think about the future of the city and the way in which a project like this stands to facilitate better resilience for the city budget and the ability to serve constituents for a long time to come. Others will speak to jobs, others will speak to business supports, but just in thinking about the next 30 years, this stands to do a tremendous amount of good for the city. So thank you for your consideration and in keeping the door open for a project like this to continue.
Thank you, Nella. And members, let me give you just a roadmap of our meeting today. Plans are that we will continue items 1 and 9. I'm going to propose to my colleagues that we move item 2 on consent with the Greater Lincoln Heights bid. Item 3, the Old Town Canoga bid. Item 4, the Century City property bid. Item 5, the Tarzana Safari Walk bid. Item 6, the Westwood property bid. Item 7, the Melrose property bid. And item 8, the West Adams bid. In addition, I'm going to propose we move on consent items 10 and 11 to oversight bond measures. Okay, and then we'll take up items 12 and 13. Okay, members, unless there's an objection. Okay, swell. Okay, let's continue on with our public comment. Next up, sir.
Hi, Rich Sarian here to speak on the Convention Center expansion modernization. Greetings, esteemed council members. Rich Sarian, a lifelong third-generation Angelino. I'm with the South Park Business Improvement District, and we have the Convention Center. It is insane, the juxtaposition of our district on days that there are conventions and days that there are not. There are small businesses that don't have to be open because the days that they are open during a convention last them through the year. We have to expand and modernize our convention center. This is a shovel-ready project that will generate so much revenue that we can actually fix the 40% of our streetlights that are out, pay for additional staff members for the city as well for emergency services. And we have got to start thinking towards the future of a better Los Angeles. This is one of the projects that other cities are afraid for us to complete and do because it will put us back on the map for travel. Think hotel tax revenue. This is going to be a game changer. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Rawson. I'm president and CEO of the Hollywood Partnership, as well as one of your city tourism commissioners speaking on the convention center. I just want to state how absolutely essential it is to move forward with this project. It's already been delayed for decades. And this committee in particular has to keep its eye on the ball to increase the pie. We have got to figure out how to bring more revenue into the city. Tourism is one of the cleanest industries that we have. It's a huge import to the region, and we absolutely must invest in our convention center. We currently rank 21st with convention centers throughout the nation. This is Los Angeles. We're not supposed to be 21st. Those are the dregs. We need to invest. We need to invest now. And while I completely understand the devastation that this community is facing, FEMA's #1 recommendation is to keep things moving forward despite the challenges of a natural disaster. So I urge you to support.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Carlos Cota, and I'm an International Vice President for the IATSE and also our Department Director for Convention and Trade Show. And I'm here to speak in strong support of the Los Angeles Convention Center expansion. This is an opportunity that has been long overdue and one that can create a lasting impact on our city. At the heart of this expansion is the creation of quality jobs that lead to long-term careers in Los Angeles' thriving entertainment industry. While film and television production often takes center stage, the convention industry plays a vital role in our economic workforce. The jobs connected to the LACC provide pathways to careers in numerous crafts, whether in sound, video, or camera work. Workers who start at the convention center can go on to become sound engineers for major motion pictures, video leads at the Pantages, Hollywood Bowl, or part of the team at SoFi Stadium and other world-class venues. Los Angeles has long been recognized as a global epicenter for film and television, and we also boast some of the best entertainment venues in the world. However, our convention center does not currently reflect that same excellence. The facility is outdated and missed key industry trends, most notably, can I speak on
Yes, just finish your comment.
Thank you. Most notably, the extension of contiguous space with ample space to compete with our closest competitors on the West Coast, which has been the standard for the past 20 years and is essential to remain competitive on the West Coast. This project is about more than just expansion, it's about modernization. By addressing both, we position ourselves alongside top-tier city facilities like San Diego, San Francisco, and Las Vegas.
All right, thank you, sir.
Right now, we're competing on second-tier markets. This isn't due to lack of effort from our venue operators. They do the best they can with what they have, but the reality is we're overdue for an upgrade. And finally, timing is everything. With the World Cup, Super Bowl, and the 2028 Olympics coming to Los Angeles, we have a rare opportunity to showcase our city on the global stage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm going to speak on item 12 and general public comment. My name is Luis Arita. I've been a member of IBW Local 11 for 32 years, and I live in El Cerrito in Council District 14. I represent about 12,000 members from IBW Local 11. Many of our members are residents of Los Angeles. We currently have about 1,000 journey-level union electricians that are looking for a job. So yes, I'm asking you to support the renovation of the Los Angeles Convention Center because it'll create local jobs and lots of economic activity. Local jobs means that local veterans, apprentices, LAUSD graduates, and LA City residents will continue to thrive in their career in the electrical field. There is misinformation out there that we don't have the workforce to build this project. Let me be clear. We have members ready to work and subcontractors ready to bid this job. We have the workforce ready to build this project and many other projects that will be needed as we recover from the fires. Our members proudly built Los Angeles, and we are ready to be called upon to do it once again. Please move this to full council. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, next speaker's coming up. Let me call some more names. Robert Smith, George Bocanegra, Chris Gabler, David Espinoza, Tony de la Trinidad, and Gus Torres.
Good afternoon. I'm here to speak on item 12 in general public comment. Good afternoon, Chair Price, members of the committee. My name is Rob Notoff with the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, where we represent over 800,000 union workers across the county, including all the union workers here in the room today. And we're here to speak in strong support of the convention center expansion. We understand that this body has a number of questions before you as a result of the fires, but we should leave no stone unturned before we walk away from this critically important expansion. As it stands, our convention center currently competes with the likes of Fresno. We're Los Angeles and we compete with Fresno. We are desperately in need of an upgrade, and it's our belief that the modernization can pay for itself, serving as an economic catalyst for the region, and be done in a way so as not to interfere with the LA 28 games. The convention center expansion will result in thousands of good union construction jobs that open up career pathways out of poverty for local residents, like you just heard from Lewis. The convention center expansion will lead to hundreds of new permanent jobs for workers and additional job placement opportunities at trade shows, like we just heard from Carlos within IATSE, where a worker doing audiovisual work at the convention center can take that skill set and move on to live entertainment or live concert at the Hollywood Bowl or a Hollywood set. So that's why we say these are real careers. And the expansion can be done in a way so as not to interfere with the 5 events at the LA 28 games. Again, we understand there's a number of questions, including whether we have enough workers to both do the reconstruction of the fire and build this. We've heard from our building trades that we have more than enough workers to do both. And they're the best in the nation, as we know, and they've assured us that there would be no issues. So please, let's move forward with pursuing every option to get this done. An investment now will lead to scores of returns in the future for workers, small businesses, and the region as a whole. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Robert Smith with Painters and Allied Trades. And then we're not just painters, the Allied Trades. We have a large, well, actually, the convention center, we have Local 831. That's the majority of the folks that do the shows. There's over 2,800 members there that does that. To not move this forward to council, the issue is this: are we going to be a second-tier city or a first-tier city? He said we're competing with Fresno. We're 21 in the nation. When they did the last expansion, I actually ran the paint project. I was in charge of painting that in the 90s when they did that. And it was so exciting, and the amount of people that we were able to pull in from communities and work was phenomenal. For us to not move forward is a tragedy. You know, you've got a fire, and the Phoenix will be the trade show. Out of the trade show industry at the convention center, out of that is very critical to the future of the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Chris Graber, Painters and Allied Trades. In the interest of time, I'm asking you to vote yes on item number 12. Thank you.
Good afternoon, committee and staff. I am David Espinoza, and I was born and raised in Los Angeles County. I've come here to support the expansion of Los Angeles Convention Center, and I'm a proud father of 5 and a certified journeyman for Local 831. Trade show installers out of Los Angeles Convention Center itself. So this trade allowed me to provide a better life for my family, and most importantly, it has given me a career. With this opportunity, this union and convention center has helped me with finding value in life, the time to focus on my family's future without having to worry about making ends meet. The benefit of expanding the convention center is the influx of attendees that come through the doors of our trade shows. It has an economic benefit to not only local businesses, but strengthen immediate and surrounding communities. So I say vote yes. And Local 831 strongly supports the expansion of the Los Angeles Convention Center. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is George Bocanegra. I am a representative with the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, where we represent over 90,000 members. Our members strongly support the Shovel Ready project because we know it will create hundreds of good union construction jobs right here in downtown Los Angeles. Jobs like these are critical in growing our middle class and creating community wealth. Let us reward responsible contractors who agree to play by the rules, respect project labor agreements, and help grow the construction workforce necessary to meet tomorrow's needs. We are 12 states strong, and we have the workforce to get this job done, along with others here in the city of Los Angeles. We urge you to support the Los Angeles Convention Center expansion project to create good-paying jobs for Angelinos. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Tony D. Trinidad with the Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 36. We represent painters, drywall finishers, floor layers, and glazers in the finishing construction industry. And we also represent trade show exhibit builders at the convention center when these large conventions come into play. And we feel projects like these are very special to us because we expect to put many of our convention trade show exhibit builders who live nearby back to work instead of having them drive to Anaheim, San Diego, Long Beach, which much bigger attractions at those convention centers. With this project, we have the opportunity to attract much larger shows and events to the Los Angeles area, as you know, which essentially boosts our local economy and brings additional revenue to the city. I don't have the actual paperwork. I'm not an accountant, but I'm pretty sure it does. When our graduates become journeymen and journeywomen, they have a chance to work towards middle-class life with the prevailing wage rate, access to premier health insurance, and a pension at no cost or expense to the taxpayer. Furthermore, the surrounding areas will be able to recruit more residents from the community to work on this expansion during the construction phase, and we're able to recruit additional residents with larger convention shows coming into the city more often. So we're confident that this project will create these types of opportunities for local residents within the community. So we humbly ask you to support this project and approve it. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Gus Torres, and I'm speaking on behalf of UA Local 250 pipe fitters, welders, and apprentices. Our 6,700 members and I are in full support of the LA Convention Center expansion project. This project will be built by local residents, veterans, and folks who may need a second shot at life and who are starting their careers in the building trades. We are currently training 1,200 apprentices, and they need this on-the-job experience. Our journey persons are the best skilled and trained workforce in the country, who have gone through a 5-year apprentice program to get their journeyman card. The LA Convention Center will be the crown jewel of the West Coast, attracting people from across the world to visit our great city. This project is a game changer, not just for our members, but for all the residents of Los Angeles. So once again, we urge you to move forward with this project. Thank you for your time, and God bless.
Buenas tardes, Eddie Alvarez, LAOC Building Trades. I'm the council representative for LA County. I'm here to speak about a couple things. I don't want to regurgitate some of the things that we've already talked today. I don't want to waste our time like that, but a couple things that I want to hit about this project. First of all, we're doing something on this project that we barely ever really do. We've brought business together. We've brought all of labor together. Let's be very, very clear that all of labor is speaking for this project, not just one sector, not just the building trades, not just the carpenters, not just IATSE, but all of us, the whole entire labor council. And I also want to speak about the workforce that's going to be involved in building this thing. There's been a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks because of the fires. Hey, do we have enough people to build here in Los Angeles? We have two different types of construction that'll be going on here the next 3 or 4 years. We have type 1 commercial construction, which is the convention center and the SoFi Stadium. We also have hopefully a lot of residential construction that's going to be done under union labor, which is a different type of construction. That's stick and podium, right? And those are two different types of construction workers. We have plenty to do both right now. We could probably build the convention center and SoFi Stadium at the same time and still do all the residential construction, right? So that gives us more than enough people to do the work. And if for whatever reason we couldn't do it, since we're Los Angeles and pay about $15 more an hour than everybody else, we could get a national call out, and we'll have those calls filled within a couple of days because of our market share nationally here in Los Angeles. We have that. The project labor agreement that's connected, that is now on the convention center, would put our residents to work, right? By the way, I'm a resident of CD14. I usually say that, but you know, proud of Highland Park boy. And 50% of the people that are going to be hired on this project our law have to be Los Angeles residents. That's our goal. And most of our projects that go on through Orange City meet that goal, right? So it's just, we have all these things in the process. We have the people to build it. And I understand that financially, we're not sure. We got to do this. If we wait another, God, I was in high school when we talked about doing this the first time. So we're talking 26 years, right? We're talking 26 years. We're going to spend another $7 billion in this thing. We need the long-term investment. We need it now. And we appreciate the vote to get town council. Thank you.
Thank you. Suzanne Holly, Victor Reyes, and Goathead.
Hi there, I'm Suzanne Hawley. I'm President and CEO of the DTLA Alliance, and I am speaking in favor of moving forward with the convention center sooner than later. I understand the proposal today is to come back in 30 days with some options on how to move forward. I've just really encouraged the committee to consider options that keep this on track. We have momentum now, which we haven't had in a really long time. And right now, this is more important to the city than any other time. With the fires, we need people to come back to Los Angeles. There's a survey done in the United States, 55% people in the United States, people in the United States think 55% of Los Angeles burned down. They don't think people are coming here. We need those tourism dollars to support rebuilding Los Angeles. So again, I thank you for consideration. I thank the CAO and the CLA's office. I know they've done a ton of work on this. Let's not lose that momentum that they've gotten so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Victor Reyes here on behalf of VICA, the Valley Industry and Commerce Association. Here speaking on item 12. We are urging for the continued support of the Los Angeles Convention Center expansion project. Modernizing the convention center is not just about upgrading a physical space. It is a strategic investment that will have profound benefits for our city's business and economic development. The expansion will add 190,000 square feet of exhibit space, 55,000 square feet of meeting rooms, and 95,000 square feet of multi-purpose space, and it is projected to generate $165 million in annual visitor spending while adding more than $1.2 billion in tax revenue over the next 30 years. As it stands, our current facilities limitations is forcing us into a second-tier status compared to competitive markets like Anaheim and Las Vegas, where modernized convention centers have become powerful economic engines. With the upcoming global spotlight of the Olympic Games and everything in between, it is imperative that we upgrade the convention center so that it is able to secure larger, more lucrative events and drive business for our hotels, restaurants, and local retailers. The benefits of this expansion extend well beyond event hosting. By connecting exhibit halls and public spaces, this project will stimulate surrounding neighborhoods, attracting further private investment and create thousands of jobs during and after construction. This development approach will serve as a catalyst for ongoing economic growth and ensure that increased visitor spending translates directly into more robust funding for vital city services. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, the goat head. All items in general comment. Nazarian, we start at fucking 2 o'clock, not when you want to come in, you know. So, have you seen the area near the convention center? I've seen places in fucking Kabul, Afghanistan that are cleaner than that fucking shithole. Have you seen that fucking shithole? You get off the fucking 110 freeway and it looks like a war zone. Oh yeah, that's the DA calling you their price. By the way, current prices, criminal trial starts on the 14th of February. Admission is free. So how the fuck are you going to get $5 billion of investment in a shithole? How? Look at the fucking place. Have you fucking seen that fucking area? It looks like it's a bombed out fucking shelter. Tagging all over the goddamn fucking place. Parking $25, $30. You don't have any parking. You don't have any on-ramps. Do you know how hard it is to get on the 110 freeway from the convention center? Have you fucking tried it? I'm the only one that knows how to do it. How the fuck are you going to get $5 billion fucking dollars? And who's going to come here? Where's the hotels? SoFi, they're building a beautiful new boutique hotel next to it. Where's our new fucking hotels? Where's the keys? Every fucking time these people come in from the hotel industry, they told you not to do that minimum wage. You said, no, fuck them. Now they don't want to build the hotels. What are you going to do without the rooms? This is nothing but fraud. This fucking thing needs to be tore down. Football stadium, didn't get it. The Clippers, didn't get it. You know why? You know who was in charge of all of those decisions? Somebody I heard came from Inglewood to our city council and made some key votes, and fucking Inglewood happens to get the Clippers, SoFi Stadium, and Intuit Arena. What a goddamn fucking coincidence. How the fuck can you run as council like this? You have Confederates. How are you going to tell these people you're going to build what? By 2028? How are you going to get the permits? They just burnt down all the Pacific Palisades. Where the fuck are the workers going to come in doing those jobs that are going to come in and doing these jobs? Where are you going to get your Davis-Bacon accessory payments? You got to go out of state for fucking workers. That's what they're going to do. See, you guys are just full of shit. So remember, the next time, Tracy Park and over there, Nazarian, show the fuck up on time. You're getting $275,000 plus a free car, free family benefits, and millions of dollars in the friends' pockets. The least you could do is show up on time. I'm fucking retarded, and I showed up on time. So vote no on this project, and let's move this shit to Fresno or somebody appreciates business.
Okay, Ron Valentine and John Lehman, last two speakers.
Ronnie Valentine, representative for IATSC Live Entertainment here in Los Angeles. I just want to say that we are in favor of this proposal. This is going to create massive amounts of jobs and works for the residents of Los Angeles and Los Angeles City. It's already started creating a great coalition. I mean, I've got my IBEW brothers and sisters in here who are going to provide power for our general sessions. We've got painters and decorators in here. It's going to create much more work for them. You've got our Teamster brothers and sisters with unpalleting all of this gear in this convention center, creating more jobs. That's basically what it is. It's going to help the community. It's going to help the economy. IATSC is in favor of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Last call.
Good afternoon. My name is John Lehman. I am the business representative for IATSC Local 33 with Ronnie. I'm here today to speak in support of the expansion of the LA Convention Center. Our main priority, of course, will be the quality of jobs created to lead a career in the entertainment industry here in Los Angeles. The jobs created and the career pathway connected to the LA Convention Center could lead to careers in many different crafts, whether it's sound, video, camera work, etc. Workers could move on being sound engineers in motion pictures from being a video lead at the Pantages, Hollywood Bowl, SoFi Stadium, so many other places in the world. And to that end, we really do a good job promoting film and television production and to our world-renowned epicenter, motion pictures. The same could be said for entertainment venues, so many world-class venues in one city, sets in Los Angeles as a gold standard. The two major components of this project are, in fact, the expanded and contiguous space, but equally important is the modernization of the facility. By accomplishing both of these tasks, we will put ourselves in a competitive position with the top-level facilities in the industry, including San Diego, San Francisco, and even Las Vegas. Currently, we're in competition with B markets at best. I'm not saying our venue operators don't do a good job maintaining the facility and doing the best they can, but we are long overdue for an expansion and update. The last point I want to make is this window of time. We have World Cup soccer, Super Bowl, 28 Olympics coming through, which will put us on the world stage for the news of the expansion with the world, but newly updated facility is on television all over the world. You can't really buy a better advertising for that. And Los Angeles will be in business as a competitor for the convention and meeting industry. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your consideration and all your efforts in continuing this conversation, especially under the pressure with the fires and the current political climate.
Thank you. Any other comment from the public? Seeing none, we will close public comment at this time. I've been joined by Councilmembers Nazarian and Councilmember Park. Welcome. Before you came, we agreed to, or we discussed continuing items 1 and 9 and moving items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 11 on consent. And if there is no objection to that, then that shall be the order.
Call the roll.
Mr. Clerk, let's see, yeah, call the roll,
Councilmember
please.
Price. Councilmember Price.
Aye.
Councilmember Mato Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Jurado.
Yes.
Councilmember Nazarian. Councilmember Park. 5 ayes. These items are approved, stated by the chair.
All right, thank you. Next item, please.
So item 12. Item 12 is City Administrative Officer and Chief Legislative Analyst Joint Report and City Tourism Department Report relative to the status of Los Angeles Convention Center expansion and related matters.
Okay, why don't we ask CLA CEO to join us at the table? I certainly want to thank everyone who testified, who presented testimony this afternoon, expressing your support for this project. This is something that many of have been working on for a long, long time. But it appears that we may be at a crossroads, an important crossroads that we've got to consider. So first of all, let me just thank the CLA and CAO and all the departments who've been involved in this project for their hard work, endeavoring to make this thing happen. And so we do have some questions, but we will get your report first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Matt Zabo, City Administrative Officer. We'll give you just a brief report. You have the brief written report in front of you, and then we'll open it up for questions. And again, the purpose of the report today isn't to make a final decision. We intend to come back to you in March with some options to move forward. But it's important that we have a discussion and update as to where we are currently. So after over the last several months since we last received instruction from the council, the team that has been working on this project, principally the CLA, the CAO, Bureau of Engineering, City Attorney, Department of Building and Safety, Bureau of Contract Administration, have been hard at work with our partners at APCLA on the early works agreement that this council has approved. Much of that work is either substantially complete or completed. There's been significant site investigation that has taken place, additional design work, additional technical work. We've made significant progress on the financing side and on the revenue projections, which needed to be updated to 2024, 2025. There's been significant work done on a drafting of a project agreement. That work is nearly complete, but there is still a significant amount of work that would need to be done on a very, very short timeline. The final agreement, the final approval of this project would need to be considered and approved by the full council and mayor by April to have a shot at beginning construction in time to complete construction before the 2028 Olympics. So we were on a timeline heading into January, which would have cut it very, very close, and it certainly would have required an all hands on deck effort from the leadership of those departments that I just mentioned, particularly BOE, Building and Safety, Bureau of Contract Administration, leadership that now needs to be primarily focused on the wildfire recovery. So completing the work in time for April, we were on track to do it with again, an all hands on deck approach from the leadership of some of your most critical departments. It would have cut it close before the fires, but after the fires and given the demands that the departments face, that effort is no longer possible to get it to you by April. So we are recommending a pause at this moment so that we can consider some options on how to proceed. Importantly, we are not recommending that you abandon the project altogether, but as stated in the report, we will bring back options that would range from potentially from various ways that we can proceed with the project and various timelines that would be attached to that, all the way to walking away from the project if it doesn't seem feasible. With that, anything from CLA?
Sorry, Sharon So, CLA. So I'll just add a couple of things because Matt alluded to a need for council action by April to achieve the targeted construction completion date by the LA Olympics, which was one of the primary objectives when we moved forward on this back in June. So, but even with an April close, that date had already moved. We originally were going to close in February. So what it does is it actually compresses the construction completion date. And there really is literally no cushion between the time of construction completion and the time that we must turn over the convention center to the Olympics. So that was one of the objectives that we had when we embarked upon this. Obviously, you know, the timing was a big deal. So also the pricing, which we have not received yet as of date. This is a very complex deal. A lot of folks have been working very hard the last 7 months to get us to this point. But now initial indications is that the $1.4 billion construction target is going to be difficult to achieve. And so, but that's an early indication. We have not gotten final numbers at this time. And again, Matt alluded to the project agreement, which we needed to complete. A lot of work has been done on that as well, but it is not complete as well. So with all of that said, we do intend to come back with options, bearing in mind that all of the costs that we've spent to date in terms of design and site visits and hazardous materials review, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, those are all city work products. So that value remains with the city. The recent disaster does put additional pressure on our city departments to complete this project. So in terms of how we proceed, it is our intent with our partners to come back to the City Council with a variety of options, and they will be several from which to choose from, considering where we are today.
Well, certainly sobering news that just underscores the interconnectedness of everything with everything else. Talk a little bit about, you referenced it, but talk about the work that's been completed to date and how much has been expended of the $50 million that we allocated.
So the council approved $54 million for the early works activities. As of now, we have spent 33.5 million. However, we were on track to exhaust that entire amount within the next 2 months.
And those work products are property of the city, is that correct?
Correct. All of the work associated with the early works agreement that the council approved, the city owns.
So will these designs and documents be useful in a future plan, or?
It will depend upon what the council decides in the upcoming options report. Clearly, they will be very useful if the decision is made to move forward on the same design or something very similar to it. So it would be useful if we proceed with the APCLA arrangement as well. So those are all the options that we do intend to explore, but it also could be useful if we take the project in a slightly different direction as well, and that needs to be determined.
And your report will also talk about improvements that could be made before the Olympics?
Yes.
Potentially?
Yes, sir. So the intent is to come back with both short-term and long-term options in terms of the convention center. Clearly, the convention center is a very important asset to the city, and the intent would always be to continue to maintain it. There are still events that are happening. It's going to be a part of the Olympics venue, and so we need to ensure that the convention center is maintained. And so we do intend to address both those short-term and long-term work.
Colleagues, any questions, any thoughts?
Thank you so much.
Mr. Martinez.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the report, and I look forward to reading a much longer report in a month. So I just want to be clear. So there's just, from the options we have right now, this cannot be built before the Olympics, right? That's off the table.
It would not be possible at this point to begin and complete construction before the Olympics.
Okay. And I think that context is important for my newer colleagues because this item had been previously discussed in the Trade, Travel, and Tourism Committee. And I remember at the time, there were many comments about having this completely done before the Olympics. And people were saying, well, the only way that could happen is if we go to APCLA. Because that was a debate. Should we keep it in-house? Should we keep it out? Well, now that shows that that's not even possible if we do APCLA. So, which is an important detail because the only reason we were going to APCLA was because they could do this project in a much faster way. And so I just want to point that out. That was part of the discussion that we had before. In this report, I hope we can get to a final number. It's not going to be 1.4 billion. Are we going to in the report, are we going to be able to see what is going to be the impact, if any, because there was a significant impact to the general fund before, between $40 and $60 million a year. Are we going to see that for each of the three options?
That would be our intent. So we do expect APCLA to provide their estimate next week sometime. I imagine that there will be some caveats to the number that they provide. But with the anticipated revenue, we will be providing a gap analysis. Also, as part of that will be the additional costs on the city side as well, because bearing in mind that 1.4 billion only included the construction costs to APCLA. It did not include city staff time to assist on the project, nor did it include some other potential aspects that might be part of the project agreement. So, but that's something that we will be reporting on as part of the March report.
Okay, thanks. To this day, do we have a final cost from APCLA?
Not yet.
So I want to express a little bit of frustration here because again, when this item was discussed in Trade, Travel, and Tourism, I remember our chair at the time and all of us expressed very clear direction that the reason we were going to put these tens of millions of dollars was that this body could come here with a clear number of what it was going to cost. That was literally the reason we had an entire debate, that we did not have a final number for what it would cost. So it really disappoints me to hear that to this day, APCLA has not yet given us that correct amount. And so I just want to put that front and center. I have some questions about staffing, but I'm sure our councilman from the 11th district will have questions about that as well. Are the options you're going to put in front of us, is one of those options that we do this project in-house?
So that had been discussed a number of times. I imagine that we would be exploring that as part of an options report. And Mr. Soto Martinez, I do want to say one thing as it relates to the pricing, the firm fixed price that we were going to get from APCLA, and the thought process at that time we anticipated it would be January. This was a very, very complex deal, and there was a lot of negotiating that went back and forth. So your city staff also bears some responsibility in that time delay as well. Because I just want to be upfront with you about that, because it's very complex. And so there was a lot of staff time going back and forth on the deal points, but I just wanted to point that out.
No, I completely agree, Ms. So. And what's frustrating is for many of us who've been in negotiations, I've been in a ton of negotiations. When you have parties when two parties want to get to a place, which is what the instruction was of this council, we wanted this to be done before the Olympics. I would have liked for that same, from what I'm hearing, I'm reading between the lines here, I would have liked for that same urgency and same goal to be shared by all parties. When two parties want to make a deal, you get a deal done. And so the fact that we couldn't get to a deal, it shows me that there's something's going on. I've been in bargaining long enough to know when two people want to get a deal, you get in the room and you cut that deal as long as it takes you. So something is going on. And I will ask those questions when we get to the full report, because it is not to the lack of the desire of this body that we find ourselves. I think there's more to it, and I want to get to the bottom of it. But I personally would like to have a report that shows all the options that we have, including whether we do this in-house, because I agree with many of the comments that were made here today. We have to build a better convention center. It is quite pathetic that we are competing with Fresno. However, I want to be able to, and I don't want the discussions to get cold, like anything, right? When you're in the thick of it and you're having conversations, the goal is to push through and get something done. But at the very least, would like to see all the options that are on the table, the cost of each of those options, and see if one of those options is doing it in-house, because it appears that even though this body had a strong desire to get this done, it wasn't able to get done. So I have more questions, but if Mr. Chair, I don't know if I need to do a instruction to that, but I would like to see that in the report.
We'll come back to that. That's a good instruction, though. We want to make sure we review all the options, as we discussed earlier, and including what can be done before. There may be some other activities that's possible before. Any other comments, questions? Councilman Park.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Has LA 28 been engaged at all regarding these sort of latest developments, and are they being consulted on both the short and long-term options that are going to be presented to us?
Not on the long-term and short-term options. I have not consulted with them. I don't know whether CAO has.
No, they're aware of generally what we've been doing as it relates to the convention center, and as it relates to our development of the options. That's part of our work that will happen before we come back to you in March.
Okay.
To assess the potential impacts to LA 28.
Okay. All right. Well, be interested in seeing that. So to dovetail on an issue that Councilmember Soto Martinez brought up, staffing resources. We have a lot to consider, and obviously with the Palisades fire on top of the staffing that's necessary for Olympics and the usual things that we already have, is your options report going to take a look at staffing?
We will certainly consider what would be required to execute each of the options. And the options would, like as I said, we're still working and developing them, but they would range from pausing indefinitely to pausing and potentially looking at moving the project forward with a construction start date after the Olympics in 2028, and that could be done in a number of ways, per Mr. Soto Martinez's request about whether we went out to bid again or whether we stayed with APCLA, and also the potential of beginning the construction, but understanding that the construction would not be finished before the Olympics, and the cost considerations, to the extent that we have them, and the staffing considerations will be included in that report.
All right.
It just would provide a longer runway to onboard staff, which was part of our problem a year ago when we knew that we needed to start construction by June of this year, that having the necessary city staff, we could not do a competitive bid or have the city staff onboarded to actually do a city operated project. So
We're going to have to address the hiring and the staffing issues and delays. I mean, the fact that we are still having this conversation, both the convention center and the Olympics have been known quantities for some time. And frankly, these could be full-time positions for multiple people. And frankly, that is what we need to pull these various very large projects together. And that was before wildfire recovery on top of it. And so I just think we need to be very clear-eyed. And if we're going to walk and chew gum and do multiple things at a time, and we have to because we're the city of LA, we need to be practical and realistic about what those needs are going to be and make the adjustments that we need. I really want to thank everybody for all the time and the work that has gone into these convention center discussions. Since our instruction last July, I know you guys have been working tirelessly. I know that you have meetings that sometimes have more than 100 people in them. I have always been a champion of us getting the convention center's modernization and expansion project rolling. And so that's why after years of hiatus, I reacted the conversation so that we could bring this incredible asset into the 21st century, while at the same time creating good union jobs and career pathways. And I still believe this. But I do also think that we have to be clear-eyed about the road ahead. We did ask you to alert us if the timeline or the cost or the material terms didn't come together in the way that we expected. So I'm really glad that you're here now with this report, and I'll look forward to the options report. But while I'm thinking of it, do we have receipts for the $33.5 million spent? Because I am going to want to see it.
We do. That's all been carefully monitored, and we've been invoiced, and we have all of that. So yes.
Good. Well, from where I'm sitting and standing, it doesn't seem like this is going possible or feasible to have this done before the Olympics. And so there may be some degrees of some things that could be done. I'll look forward to hearing about your engagement with LA 28 to see what various options those may include. But I think our city's landscape and the priorities have fundamentally shifted and changed in the aftermath of the fire, which unfortunately has devastated my community and my district. We just really can never go back. And as their elected representative, I'm going to continue to fight and advocate for every available resource to ensure that those folks who have lost everything have the most expedient pathway to get home and a way to rebuild basic city infrastructure. Police stations, fire stations, our utilities, our schools, parks, libraries. This is going to be an incredibly heavy lift over many years ahead. So I really want to thank both of you for your guidance, and I know that you make your decisions with the best interests of our city at heart. So I'm with you on the pause, and I look forward to hearing a full range of options for us to consider as we think about this. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments, members?
I have more questions. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mr. Chair. I wanted to give time to folks because, I had taken a long time. Ms. So you mentioned that we've done some work within the city that can possibly be used depending on what route we take. Could you just give a little more flavor of like what information, what plans we have that could be helpful?
Sure. So with regard to design, if we stick with the same design, those plans will be ours. And so, so that work would be useful. Some of the surveys that were done, the hazardous materials, some of the site investigations in terms of, the work, if we were to proceed, regardless of what it looks like, that all of that will also provide use. And some of the technical, I'm looking at John and he's nodding, and I'm going to forget some of these, but so those are some of the things that would be helpful as we move forward. So it just depends upon the design that we use. So more of it may be useful. Some of it will always be useful depending upon which path ultimately the council decides to take.
Okay. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask, but the effects of the tariffs on construction material, and I know there's so much in flux. I mean, the federal government is you don't know what's going to happen, the next day. But do we have any sense? Because so much of our concrete and lumber comes from Canada, and a bunch of stuff comes. But that is a huge part. Like, have we even looked at that? What that does to the price tag?
That's something we've been in discussion with APCLA about throughout the negotiations, and in part, as the CLA mentioned, there had been some cost inflation from the initial estimate as we were moving forward. APCLA was beginning to do their work on the final cost, the firm fixed price. And so we were seeing a little bit of inflation there. We have urged, and I believe, I will let them speak for it if we are to move forward with the project. But in terms of the materials that they are procuring in the United States, I think that has been something that we've been urging to provide some protection against the impacts of tariffs. That will also be, by the way, that will be part of the consideration. The estimated cost of this project has increased significantly since 2019, and we would anticipate that it would increase an equally significant with an equally significant rate if we were to hold off until 2028. So that all needs to be part of the consideration when you're asking for what's the cost today versus what's the cost tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, and thank you for that. And again, I just want to, sometimes these committee meetings can feel, we get impassioned, and I think my largest frustration comes from thought we were working towards something, and we were going to work through those differences, and it just feels like we've taken a significant step back. And that's where some of my frustration comes. Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I would like to sort of give some instructions on the report. Sure. Personally, I would like to see, when you talk about the options, I really see 4 different options. Us doing it in-house, using APCLA, using someone else other than APCLA, or the least one that I want is do nothing and start from scratch, but it is an option. It's not one that I want to go to. And I think for each of those 4 options, I think there are 3 things that are of concern to me. One is the timeline for each of those, right? How quickly can we break ground and have a full, complete convention center? I will vary on those 4 options. The staff, from each department, we know BOE, DBS, BCA will be strained. So the effects of each of those 4 options. And finally, the cost to the general fund of each of those 4 options. And as I've mentioned before, where are we going to get the money, right? If it is not cost neutral. And so I would like, if possible, Mr. Chair, I'd like to entertain having that in the reports. I think that will give us the ability to have a much more thoughtful discussion in the report and not have it on the floor. I see, certainly for my perspective.
Good, no objection. That should be.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, members?
Yeah.
Mr. Zaria.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is this on? All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I see the general manager of the convention center. I don't know if he's going to have an opportunity to speak or to answer any questions. I don't know if you have anything to say or if you wanted to add anything.
Oh, he's always welcome to come to the table. He's got some welcome to join us.
Thank you. I just want to give off a couple of at least rough ideas of what's important, at least to me, when I'm looking at a project like this, at the magnitude of the city that we live in and the regional players that we are, and what the future holds for us as a region and as a city. So first of all, long term, I don't see how we don't have a modernized facility.
we're going to need to make that investment either now or later, unless if we just want to be out of this business entirely. So I appreciate you saying that, you know, if we don't incur the cost now, it's going to be equally more expensive as how much it's, how inflation has had an impact between 2019 to now. It's going to have probably similar amount, if not even more, given where this administration is headed just in the first few weeks, past 28. So I firmly believe in making investments now that will allow us to reap the reward and benefit moving forward, rather than waiting for a different outcome at a different time when we don't know what the set of circumstances then are going to be. Competing for national and international clients and programs, I want to see more happen convention-wise than where we've been so far. It's easy for me to say this. The real work is done by the folks that run the center, as well as the folks that help make sure that these major productions and events come together, as well as our tourism arm that I don't know if they're here or not. But if we don't make the appropriate investment now, I don't know how we're going to ever be able to get beyond where we've been stuck at over the course of the last however long. I'm only on the job for 2 months, so you guys know better, but at least 2 decades, a decade, 15 years.
Bruce County.
And then with the investments we make, we are leveraging and alluring further investments to come. Right, so hotel production. With hotel production comes the opportunity to have expanded TOT. I think I'm preaching to the choir when I'm saying this to all of you, but I'm just looking at those opportunities and seeing if we miss them now, how is that going to play out years from now for us? And then I'll just stop there on the short term, longer term. On the short term front, if we know we are in a precarious circumstance economically, that's the very time that we double down and we make sure that we invest in our economy, we invest in our labor force. We've done that throughout significant economic downturns in the history of our country, especially in the last century, and it's paid off significantly. These are just thoughts, somewhat disjointed, but all towards the direction of us moving forward on this and investing in ourselves. Nobody else is going to want to invest in me, in us. Nobody else is going to want to invest in Los Angeles Convention Center competing with their convention centers. We're the only ones who determine and control our fate in all of this. So I'm very committed to making this move forward. And in light of the extremely harsh circumstances that are facing us right now, I did hear you, Ms. Park, and I'm extremely sympathetic to the challenges that your constituents and our city's overall constituents are going to be facing with. But I also want to see how we can address both of the circumstances, one, current challenges, and one, making sure that our future is not being diminished by lack of investments today. That's where I'm at, just thinking out loud. To tie it all up, I just see the 28 Olympics being a perfect opportunity, a benchmark that allows us a focused target to be able to bring all the resources in to make sure that this happens. Again, this is just very inertial, precursory thoughts. I'm looking forward to working with both of you, as I already have had conversations with you and your offices. but I don't see how our city doesn't take advantage and stays on the sideline for something so big and missing an opportunity. That said, I'm also extremely mindful of whether we are working with the right partner and how changing partners at this point impacts the project. Not advocating that, but just listening to what some of my colleagues are saying, I appreciate the importance of that as well. So thank you for the opportunity. And Mr. Liu, I don't know if there's anything you want to add or if there's any questions that were posed earlier that you want to offer your thoughts or answers on.
First, I want to say that I'm very appreciative of the enormous challenge before you because of the unspeakable tragedy that's happened. I get that our financial condition is going to be in question, and it's going to be difficult to make some of the decisions that are before you. I really appreciate what the CLA and CAO have done in light of that, and they are putting together options for you to consider, at least one of which will give us an opportunity to start the project, even though it won't be finished before the Olympics. And I think that's, to your point, Councilwoman Park, it's our ability to walk and chew gum. I think we can. I really do think we can. And while we can't finish an expanded convention center before the Olympics, I think we can modernize what we have. We must. We're hosting the Paralympic Games, and our building doesn't comply with ADA regulations. At a minimum, we need to do that. But we have about $110 million of deferred maintenance that we've, for the last 10 years, have just said we'll let the expansion take care of those items. Our roof leaks and our toilets don't flush. At a minimum, we need to do that kind of work. So I think Matt and Sharon and their teams are going to be able to bring forward an option that will at least help us deal with the modernization piece. And we can talk about doing expansion after the Olympics, if that's even possible. But please consider the options that they come up with that at least lets us modernize our existing building. Not for the Olympics. We don't need the space for the Olympics, but we need to at least make sure that the space we are using for the Olympics is welcoming, is clean, is safe, is dry. I could go on with what our current needs are, but please, council members, committee members, keep an open mind to figuring out how we can at least do the modernization piece of this project.
Okay, thank you. Members, any other comments? I think one thing is clear, committee members still have high expectations of what we expect from the convention center and from a public resource. We know that it is an important resource for our city and for our area, certainly during the Olympics, but beyond that as well. And so we all are going to be looking very, very closely to consider these options, short-term, long-term options, as to how we can proceed. You said at least with the, if not expansion, at least modernization in a way that helps us meet our upcoming needs. So with that, members, with some reluctance, I'm going to recommend that we approve the report recommendations and that we look forward to working closely with the CAO, CLA in the next month or so on a final report that gives us a much better picture of what the roadmap looks like.
And just to clarify, so that's to approve the CAO-CA report, joint report dated January 31st, 2025, and to note and file the report from the Department of Convention and Tourism Development dated August 14th, 2024. and the report was amended. Councilmember Rice.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Jurado.
Yes.
Councilmember Zarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Park. 5 ayes, this item is approved as amended.
Okay, thank you. Next item.
Motion relative to a memorandum of understanding between the County of Los Angeles Department of Economic Opportunity for the implementation of the LA Region Small Business Relief Fund and the Worker Relief Fund, agreement with the Southern California grant makers for the implementation of the SBR Fund and the Worker Relief Fund, and authorizing the SCG to accept donations related to the windstorms and wildfires for the benefit of the city and related matters.
Okay, this is something we could have taken on consent, but it's a motion that Tracy and I are making to seeking a jointly launched 2 relief funds to offer critical assistance to workers and to businesses. And so we're excited about that moving forward. This will authorize the EWDD and SCG to move forward with this. Any comments? Call the roll.
Councilmember Price.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Jurado. Councilmember Nazarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Park. 5 ayes, this item is approved.
Okay, any other items, sir, at this time?
The desk is cleared.
Desk is cleared. This meeting is adjourned.